The first major AI agent failure inside an enterprise will not look like science fiction. It may look like a purchase order, a shipment reroute, a policy exception, a quiet workflow decision that no one can fully explain afterward. That is the real risk of AI agents. Not that they hallucinate, although that risk is real. But the bigger risk is that an agent takes action inside a real business process, touches real systems, creates real consequences, and the enterprise cannot reconstruct why it happened. Picture a global manufacturer. Overnight, a new tariff or export restriction is announced. A shipping lane becomes unstable. A supplier that looked safe last quarter is suddenly exposed to a region the risk team is watching. There is no dramatic crisis room, just emails, dashboards, policy updates, shipment data, and a team trying to decide whether tomorrow's orders should still move. A few years ago, that decision moved through people. Legal reviewed the policy. Procurement checked the supplier. Finance modeled the cost. Operations checked inventory. Leaders asked for options. Slow, but understandable. Now, put AI agents into that workflow. One agent monitors supplier exposure. Another checks policy updates. Another pulls shipment data. Another reviews contract terms. Another recommends whether to reroute inventory, pause a purchase order, or escalate the issue. That is the promise of enterprise AI. Faster response, better coordination, less delay between external shock and internal action. But it also creates a new problem. Who controls the action? What was the agent allowed to do? Which data did it use? Was the policy source approved? Did the agent recommend a decision, or did it trigger one? Was a human supposed to approve it? Could the company prove any of that? That is where AI stops being just a productivity tool. It becomes part of the operating model. And once AI becomes part of the operating model, the question changes. It is no longer only, can the model produce a good answer? It is, can the organization explain, govern, and defend what the system did? I'm Vlad Stoyanovsky, and this is the Sovereign AI Enterprise. This channel is about the next phase of enterprise AI. Agents, governance, architecture, sovereignty, geopolitics, and the shift from using AI to depending on AI. For the last few years, most AI conversations have been about capability. Better models, faster tools, more automation, higher productivity. That story is not wrong, but it is incomplete. The more important question now is control. Who owns the data? Who sets the rules? Who can audit the system? Who controls the infrastructure? Who is accountable when automated systems start shaping real decisions? That is why AI is becoming a power issue. Not power in the Hollywood sense, power in the institutional sense. The power to decide, the power to approve, the power to route work, the power to influence that people see, trust, and do next. And that power is starting to move through models, agents, workflows, data pipelines, cloud platforms, and governance systems. This is why agents matter. An AI assistant can answer a question, but an AI agent can call a tool, check a policy, retrieve data, trigger a workflow, generate code, recommend an action, or coordinate across systems. That is a different kind of system. Once AI starts acting inside workflows, a polished answer is not enough. A fast demo is not enough. A successful proof of concept is not enough. The system has to survive production. Production is where the real test begins. Data is messy. Policies change. Users overtrust or undertrust the systems. Edge cases appear. External events change the meaning of yesterday's decision. And eventually, someone asks, why did this happen? At that moment, confidence is not evidence. The enterprise needs an audit trail. It needs to know what data was used, what model was invoked, what the agent did, what policy applied, what human reviewed it, and what system state existed at the time. That is why governance cannot be a slide at the end of a presentation or a set of principles on a web page. Governance has to become operating infrastructure. It has to be present when data is accessed, when a model is called, when an agent uses a tool, when a workflow routes a case, when a human approves an action, and when evidence is needed after the fact. This is also why AI is becoming an architecture conversation. Not every use case needs the same controls. A low-risk writing assistant does not need the same architecture as an agent that touches supply chain decisions, lending workflows, government benefits, or production infrastructure. The architecture has to match the risk. The more consequential the work, the more the enterprise needs orchestration, observability, accountability, current context, and control. And that leads to sovereignty. Sovereignty is usually discussed as a national issue. Data residency, compute regulation, security, dependence on foreign platforms. But enterprises now face their own sovereignty problem. Where does the data go? Where does inference happen? Who administers the environment? Which jurisdiction applies? Which vendors are embedded so deeply that leaving becomes unrealistic? How much control does the organization actually have over the systems it is starting to depend on? These questions are becoming more urgent because the world is becoming more fragmented. Governments are drawing harder lines around technology, data, chips, cloud platforms, supply chains, and strategic industries. Enterprises that once optimized mainly for efficiency now have to think about exposure, resilience, jurisdiction, and control. That does not mean every company needs to become a geopolitical expert, but it does mean AI strategy can no longer be separated from infrastructure strategy. For sensitive work, the environment matters. The boundary matters. The audit trail matters. The ability to explain what happened matters. That is the core idea behind the sovereign AI enterprise. The next phase of AI will not be defined only by who has the best model. It will be defined by who can turn AI into dependable operating infrastructure. Who can govern it? Who can audit it? Who can control it? Who can adapt when the world changes with it? And who can still explain what happened when an AI system acts? That is the conversation this channel will follow. Some videos will be strategic. Some will be practical. Some will connect geopolitics and public AI debates to what is happening inside enterprises. But the central question will stay the same. What does it take for an organization to depend on AI? The first essay on my Substack lays out the thesis behind this channel. The link is below. If this is the AI conversation you are trying to follow, less hype, more enterprise reality, more attention to agents, governance, sovereignty, and power, subscribe here and follow the Substack as well. Because the real AI divide will not be between organizations that use AI and organizations that do not. It will be between organizations that can depend on AI and organizations that cannot explain what their AI just did.
The data flows, a constant stream, shaping futures, chasing every dream. Complex patterns and sights unseen, a new era, sharp and keen. The world is changing, can you feel the pulse? A deeper vision beyond every impulse. Enterprise, geopolitics, AI.